Hey Falcons fans, we have a story that no one is talking about, and that's exactly why you need to hear this until the end, because if these changes work, we could be looking at the Falcons' first playoff run since 2017. So if you're a Falcons fan who keeps hope alive about our team's future, hit the like button and comment below. Rise up. Let's start with Ryan Neuzil. Yes, Ryan Neuzil, the man replacing Drew Dalman, one of the most consistent centers in the league the past 2 seasons. Dalman was no joke. PFF had him ranked as the 3rd best center in 2023 and 4th best in 2024, with grades of 82.3 and 78.8. Only 4 sacks allowed in 2 years, and he helped power one of the best running games in football. Dalman earned that massive 3-year, $42 million deal from the Bears, and now that responsibility falls squarely on Neuzil's shoulders. And here's where it gets interesting. Zachary Pearls from CBS Sports flat out said it, Atlanta had a historically good running game. And the center-quarterback connection is especially important for young quarterbacks, putting a lot of weight on Neuzil's shoulders. That's not just hype. The Falcons were 10th in rushing last season with 2,219 yards, and Bijan Robinson finished 3rd in the NFL with 1,456. All of that production starts up front, and Neuzil is now the man tasked with keeping that machine rolling. But here's the twist. Neuzil has something to prove. He might have allowed 1 less sack than Dalman, but discipline was an issue last season. 7 penalties. For more than Dalman, and about the same number of snaps. And Falcons fans, you know how crucial every single yard is in this offense. The question is, can Neuzil clean that up and keep Bijan running wild? Because if he does, this offense stays elite. If he doesn't, every mistake will be magnified, especially with the eyes of the league now turning toward Atlanta. And while Neuzil works to keep the offense humming, let's flip to the other side of the ball, because this is where it gets really exciting. Leonard Floyd. Yes, that Leonard Floyd, the veteran edge rusher who's about to become one of the most important players on this roster. The Falcons' pass rush last season was, well, let's not sugarcoat it, it was awful. 10 sacks in the first 11 games. Historically bad. And while Atlanta spent 2 first-round picks on edge rushers, Pearl said it best, don't be surprised if Floyd outproduces them both. He's had at least 8.5 sacks in each of the last 4 seasons, and that may not sound like a monster number, but here's the reality check. The Falcons haven't had anyone hit even 7 sacks in that same span. Floyd could instantly be the game-changer this defense has been begging for. And speaking of young defenders, we have to talk about this rookie class because it's shaping up to be something special. For potential defensive starters from one draft class. That's not normal in the NFL, and it tells you this front office is serious about fixing the defense. Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., and Xavier Watts are already penciled in as starters, but the surprise name here is safety Billy Bowman. A lot of fans scratched their heads when Atlanta drafted him after already adding Watts, especially with Jesse Bates locked in and DeMarco Hellams returning. But Bowman brings something different. He's physical, flexible, and he's already pushing to take over D. Alford's role as the starting slot defender. Considering how Alford ended last season, the fact that Bowman is even in this conversation makes sense. He just needs a strong camp in preseason, and he could be one of those rookies who makes an impact immediately. And don't think this is just hype. If the season started today, Atlanta's secondary could line up with Jesse Bates and Watts at safety, A.J. Terrell, Mike Hughes, and yes, Billy Bowman at corner. That's depth we haven't seen in years, with Clark Phillips and Alford now in reserve roles. Add veterans like Kevin King or even undrafted rookie Kobe Bryant fighting for spots, and suddenly this defense doesn't just look improved, it looks ready to push for something bigger. Could this be the group that finally drags Atlanta back to the postseason? It feels like it. But before we go any further, I need to know what you think. Are you buying into the hype around Ryan Neuzil and Leonard Floyd? Do you believe Billy Bowman can steal that starting job? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And now we get to the name that might be the biggest wild card of them all, James Pierce Jr. If you've been following the Falcons offseason, you already know the pick that had everybody talking. Atlanta traded back into the first round to grab him at number 26 overall, giving up future draft capital, including a first-rounder in 2026. NFL pundits tore this decision apart, calling it bad value, risky, and desperate. But what if James Pierce Jr. is the piece this defense has been missing for years? What if he's exactly the kind of explosive edge rusher this team hasn't had since the days of John Abraham? That's the story we need to talk about. Because if you listen to people who actually know him, the hype is real. His former Tennessee Volunteers teammate, Bryson Eason, was on 92.9 The Game here in Atlanta this week, and he couldn't stop talking about what Pierce brings to the table. And I'm not just talking about generic compliments. Eason gave a detailed breakdown that should have every Falcons fan buzzing. He's somebody who is going to disrupt the edge and disrupt the quarterback. He's got a lightning speed get off, real physical, not afraid to put his head in the trenches, Eason said. That's exactly what this defense needs, somebody who doesn't just pressure the quarterback but wrecks game plans. Eason even called him a true professional and a true game wrecker and predicted he's going to rack up sacks and tackles for loss in his rookie season, helping the Falcons get that winning record they've been chasing. And here's the part that really matters: Pierce has something to prove. Everyone knows about the concerns that popped up during the draft process, including his arrest in December 2023 for speeding and driving with a suspended license. That scared off some teams. But Eason went out of his way to crush those narratives, saying Pierce is very passionate about the game and very smart when it comes to the game. He called him a great teammate and a locker room leader. Look, former teammates don't always tell the whole truth, but the way Eason spoke about Pierce sounded genuine. It wasn't just blind loyalty, it was confidence that this kid is ready to dominate from day one. Now, pair Pierce with Jalen Walker, another first-round pick expected to start immediately, and you see why this defense could be one of the biggest surprises of 2025. Think about it. If Floyd plays at his usual level, Pierce explodes as a rookie, and Walker adjusts quickly, Atlanta might finally have a pass rush that forces offenses to respect them. Add the upgraded secondary we talked about earlier, and suddenly this defense doesn't just look solid, it looks like a unit that could win games on its own. That's what makes this season so fascinating. This isn't just about Bijan Robinson running for 1,400-plus yards again. This is about building a complete team, one that can win ugly defensive games when it has to and punish opponents when the offense clicks. If all these pieces hit, the Falcons aren't just a playoff contender, they're a team nobody wants to face in January. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. These are projections, and the NFL doesn't give out wins for hype. Newsel has to clean up those penalties, Floyd has to bring that veteran consistency, and these rookies have to prove they're ready for the spotlight. That's why training camp and preseason this year will be the most important in a long time for this franchise. Every snap, every rep matters, because this team has the talent to change the narrative around Atlanta football. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe James Pierce Jr. is going to silence the critics and become that game-wrecking edge rusher? Can this rookie class really transform the defense in one season? And, maybe the biggest question of all, do you think this is the year the Falcons finally make it back to the playoffs? Drop your comments below, let's debate it, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because we're going to be following every twist and turn of this Falcons season together. Go Falcons!